be very grateful to you.
We are recording.
Oh, we have liftoff. Excellent. Well, fantastic. Good to be here, and thanks for joining the Crypto and Colo show, guys. It's great to see you all here. It's been a bit of a bumpy few weeks for me in the show, but I am back now presenting. Um, just to say that Buckcoins and Shadows Pub are no longer the co-hosts. They've left the show regrettably, but that's their decisions, and I have to respect that. So that's the situation. But I'm not going to be going into the details of all of that because I'm going to get straight into the crypto and the Hive discussion because that's what we're here for. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start as I usually do by just taking a look at the Bitcoin weekly trading chart. I'm just going to whack that into. I'm still in Voice General. No, that is the right channel, isn't it? That is the right chat channel. Yes, I think it is for the show. Hopefully, yes, it is. Let me just whack that in. So there we go. None of us will be surprised to see that Bitcoin is down around 12, 13%. It's taken quite a hit there, bit of a plunge there. Um, Disappointing to see, of course, but no need for panic. All part of the course, as far as I'm concerned. I know we've got the usual. Yes, you see some of the emojis. You can see some people aren't happy, which is understandable. But as I say, this is a roller coaster we're on, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, what's causing it though? That's the key question here. I'm not going to completely take out of the equation Trump's tariffs because even though I don't think they directly explain this situation, it does seem a bit too much of a coincidence that every time this guy mentions the tariffs are going on, then he pauses them. And then he says, they're going to go back on. Every time he talks about them, there is a crypto movement. And it's not always a good one unless he's pausing tariffs, in which Bitcoin, in case Bitcoin goes back up. So I think there is a correlation here, and we're seeing this kind of alignment now. It's going to keep happening, I think, with the conventional markets being aligned more so with the crypto markets, because years ago, a government fiscal policy would not have had such an impact on the crypto sphere. There's no way it would be having this direct impact. And I'm still cautious about whether it is directly the tariffs. I know it's not only the tariffs, but I think they are playing a role. But now, as we see, as the years go by, and the traditional markets are becoming more aligned with crypto, this is what is going to happen, and it's going to keep happening. I'm afraid. I think we're going to be talking more about politics and crypto together in one sentence more and more as the years go by. So I think there is a link, but it's not the only correlation. I think you've got general market movements going on anyway. I remember people talking about Bitcoin last week, saying, "Look, prepare for a consolidation period." They were warning of 84K. And look at the price of Bitcoin right now. Well, that's not too far off the mark. People in this show last week were talking about Bitcoin coming down to 80K, dropping back all the way back to 80K. So look, there's various things going on, and the cycle. Yes, there's Trump's tariffs, but there's other things going on here. But what I'm going to do now, because I think this is an interesting graph that I'm going to come across in a moment. And just to say, Solo's going to expand on all of this in a moment. I'm delighted to tell you all that I've got Solo joining me as co-host. Should have mentioned Solo before. Sorry about that. A little bit rude, but I'm so keen to get going with all of this, and it was important that I mentioned about what happened with Shadows and Buckcoins. But fortunately, we've got the inimitable and the super awesome Solo who's joined me tonight, which is fantastic. Solid Hivian, very experienced guy, knows a lot about IT and and technical stuff and crypto. So good to have him here. So I'm going to check in with Solo in just a moment. But before I do that, because he's going to expand on a lot of these, a lot of what is going on with regards to Bitcoin. There's going to be a lot of focus on Bitcoin in this show before we get to other things. Clearly, because Bitcoin is doing certain movements at the moment. But just take a look at this chart. This gives me a little bit of optimism, I would say. So this is Bitcoin transaction volumes over the years. And let's just take a look at that for a moment, because go back to 2020. That's the figure I just want to, the year I want to look at the moment. 2020, not 2021, 2020. 6.1 trillion transaction volume of Bitcoin. That was the year before the last huge boom period for the alts as well, not just Bitcoin, of course. So look at that, 6.1. Let's go on 4 years to last year. Look at that. It's almost tripled. So we're seeing the cycle play out pretty conclusively, I would say. It looks all pretty solid at the moment. I'm just talking about transaction volume at the moment. So we're obviously missing the very important figure in that chart, 2025. What's it going to do this year? We're all hoping for an altcoin season. We're all hoping that Bitcoin will achieve new ATHs. And there is, judging from that graph, I don't see why that shouldn't happen. So that was kind of encouraging for me to see that we are, when we're literally comparing like for like here, all the indicators are looking pretty healthy. I thought that was quite interesting. But I'm going to pause now because I've been speaking for the last 5 minutes. I'm going to check in with Solo and just see what he thinks about this. But first of all, Solo, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in as co-host. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. Peace and money. Glad to talk about Bitcoin with all y'all, and all that ties into Hive as well, because they are very much related, even if they're separate coins. But I have a lot of interesting stats to talk about, and even if the price is down a little bit, I have some data that is really positive that I want to show with y'all.
Awesome. Okay, fine. So just before you start going into to showing us that data, just generally speaking, anything to worry about in terms of what Bitcoin's doing at the moment, would you say?
No, I'd say the tariffs, like you were saying, are having an effect on Bitcoin. It's happening on all the markets. It's gold, silver, Nasdaq, the S&P. It's every single market. And of course, Bitcoin is treated like a tech stock in many cases. So people are going to sell it when they sell their other tech stocks, and that's what I see on that part of it.
Okay, so that's interesting what you just said there about it's being treated like any other market. But the thing is, wasn't Bitcoin and crypto, we were supposed to be different. We were supposed to be the alternative, weren't we? So when things impacted the traditional markets, we didn't often see this such a close relationship that we are seeing now. Now I know there's pros to that, of course there are, but we're going to be seeing more and more of this, aren't we? As both these markets align, is that right?
Yeah, I definitely think it's we call it the pegging of the Nasdaq to the Bitcoin ratio, and it's something that you've seen for a long time where Nasdaq goes up, Bitcoin goes up, Nasdaq goes down, Bitcoin goes down. And there's periods of time where it doesn't do that, but there's very long periods of time where they follow lockstep in each other. And I think we're going to continue seeing that until Bitcoin does its honey badger thing and says, I don't care, and I'm going to go my direction.
And that's what we want. That's exactly what we want. We want it to sort of break free again, don't we?
Absolutely. And like there's like a good chart that I can drop right here that shows like how closely Bitcoin someone sometimes trades with the Nasdaq. And people treat it like a tech stock, and even if it's not a tech stock, it's treated like one by many.
Oh, okay. So go on. Yeah, go for it. Show us what you got. Keep talking.
Yeah, so basically, when you look at like the days where the markets are open, you'll see a close correlation with if Bitcoin is up, the Nasdaq is probably up too, or if there's large crashes like we had just yesterday. I mean, I don't know how much it was down by exactly. I'm not keeping track, but I think a percent or two, you're going to see a large percentage change as well. And that goes for Ethereum and all the other coins. They all follow each other. So unless you see some bad news, I'm really not worried about it. It's just we go up, we go down. We have to remember just a few months ago, we had our largest intraday rise in Bitcoin's price ever. I forgot what it was, $8,000 or $10,000 in one day. Like I'm fine if it going down too like this. This is honestly probably a good thing.
Okay. Unfortunately, sorry to interrupt. I've got some bad news. Menno is out of coffee. Can anybody help him with that? Sorry, Solo. Carry on.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where if I see the markets doing their thing and Bitcoin's doing the same, I'm not really worried. It's not scaring me. And whenever you're ready, I have some good data that I can drop as well, to show kind of how Bitcoin data wise is on the rise, even if the price is down. You mind if I drop them in?
Go for it.
All right, so this is the overall mining hash rate for Bitcoin. We're at all-time highs again. This is over a few years. So if the miners are not mining Bitcoin, I mean, I'd say that's a bearish sign, but they're very much mining Bitcoin, even with the recent halving. We're seeing an all-time high. Ignore that little drop right there. That chart always does that right at the last day or two, but you can see from 2022 up until now, many magnitudes up in the mining hash rate. So that's always positive. People wouldn't be buying ASICs and spending all this money on electricity if they didn't believe in it. So I'm very much positive on that. And
And
another thing I want to, sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, great, great observation point there. You're absolutely right. Why would people be investing all that they're hiking up their energy bills for something that's not going to give them a return? Good point.
Exactly. So it's one of those trends that I like to watch. If I saw a big dip in mining, I might be wondering what's going on. And there's also this thread that I read every day on Bitcoin Talk. I'm not sure if anyone here knows of Bitcoin Talk, but it's a website that's been around as long as I've been around in Bitcoin, so at least 2013. And there's this OG in there, so you call like original gangster, or someone that's been in the market for a long time, and he pointed out that these are the cycles that we tend to see. And right now we're about 6 months into the bull run, and we're expecting some kind of bear trap right now, and it's come across in almost every other cycle, and it's happening. So I think if the big guys out there, and if you look at when his account was created, I think it's like 2014. I tend to take those people pretty seriously.
Okay, this is fascinating. All right, carry on.
Yeah, so I'll drop a link as well to the Bitcoin Talk thread. Is I think anyone that just wants a pulse on the community, it's a really good place to kind of see the news, and people are in there every day just talking about what's going on there. So that's some really good news as well with the hash rate. And one other thing I found, I saw this basically a meme, and I know you were talking earlier about the transaction value being a little different than what I have here. So I'm not sure when your graph was pulled up, piece of money, but I think we might have already surpassed that amount. And look at how much Bitcoin is processing compared to the top payment processors. If that's not a milestone, I don't know what is. Like my whole time in crypto, I've been low. If Bitcoin can beat Visa and Mastercard, that's right there. That's gold.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that is quite a difference there. Total transaction value. Now, the chart I put in showed that figure as being about half that. That was total Bitcoin transaction volume. So not sure. Got to be careful here with statistics and the like. Um, where did you get that data from, Solo?
Literally from Bitcoin Talk, someone dropped the meme. So I have no proof or any kind of source to this. So take it as it is. But it's just one of those things that I pick up in those threads, and I figured it'd be a great time to share with y'all.
Okay, well, I'd prefer to believe that figure for sure. Either way, it's looking pretty good. Because when you can, as I said, anyone comparing like for like, go up to 2020, 6.1 trillion. I've got on this graph, you've got a bit more. But nonetheless, either way, the parallels are sinking quite nicely. And it's encouraging to see from your other graphic with the bear trap and the mining rate and all of that hash rate. That is all encouraging. So that I have to ask you then, Solo, what is causing the current downtrend with Bitcoin?
Well, I think it might have been Trump's tariffs. It might have been a market panic. People are going to put their money into cash because they're not sure what's going to happen next. And when that happens, all the markets drop, and so does Bitcoin, as I said earlier. So it's not something I'm worried about. Looking at all this other data that I have, I'm quite positive, and chances are that it's probably just a correction. Who knows for sure? This could be the start of the bear market. Like, I don't know, but I think it's just a correction until we go higher.
Oh, we don't want to hear bear market. That's kind of banned actually from this show, at least at this stage.
It's like using the S word. We don't use the S word here either.
Oh, tell me, S word?
Oh man, I might get banned just for saying the S word. I think people in chat know what the S word is.
Oh, I think I know what you mean, of course. Yes, yes, all right, fair enough. No, totally agree on that one. Um, you're right. There's plenty of encouraging indicators. There's no doubt about that. I've found some, you've found some, so that's great. And you know what? Just to try and contextualize all of this in a more positive light, even in a more positive light than you've been doing. Yes, there he is. Oh, you got around that one, didn't you, Solo? Okay. Anyway, but I'm going to just drop in now. Take a look at what who's he called, the founder of Binance, tweeted yesterday. I think a lot of you may have seen it, but for those of you that haven't, this really puts things in context. Just take a look at this tweet he put out on X. Tweet he put out on X. It kind of works. I mean, in terms of reference point, that is ideal, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all in hindsight when you see it later on. Is I've seen some tweets where people are like, "I bought Bitcoin at 100, it went down to 50. I'm selling everything. Screw this coin." I'm like, "Oh my god, I feel so bad for these people."
Awesome stuff. Right, I'm going to check in with the Hive to see what he's thinking at the moment. However, I do note that everybody seems to be muted. Do we have to do something here to open up their mics? No, we don't. Go for it, the Hive.
The tariffs on Trump thing, I think that's just getting too much into politics. And if that is politics, then I reckon it's to do with pilfered money from all that Ukraine money that never got there. That's my theory down the tariff. So that money would have been stored in Bitcoin. And now that Trump is in and it's part of the good government efficiency, they're going through all the financial books everywhere. So that money has to be moved again into common pools, out back into a common pool, then into a hedge funds, and then it can be back into people's hands where they can start buying again with different commodities or back in Bitcoin. And that's my theory on the tariffs. For all everything else, I think anybody interested in gaining more financial value from holding Bitcoin should just set themselves a target, 500,000, 200,000, whatever it is. But you're going to put money in then up until it reaches 150,000. You're going to say put a tenner in a week. And then when it reaches 150,000, you stop buying, wait for it to reach 250, 500,000, whatever your target is, and then you cash out.
So is that your personal strategy?
No, I don't trade. I don't do Bitcoin. I only got into the crypto sphere and then Hive through playing poker because I only really play poker for fun. I don't like putting money into. And I do okay if I play for fun. So I've found free poker, play for nitrogen sport, play poker, earned a few Bitcoin. Not a full Bitcoin, but I cashed out 0.3 of a Bitcoin, 0.5 of a Bitcoin, 0.2 of a Bitcoin a few times just because somebody needed money. Well, you start there's 150 quid you got for nothing. And I used that. So I've no interest in having loads of money. It does nothing for my mind.
Money does nothing for your mind? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely not. It, I mean, I can think about and say the benefits of having that there, but in general, I have no bloody need for money.
Well, I wish I had no need for money. I probably wouldn't be here. I'd probably be just sitting on some island. I don't know. If it was all free, I guess we've got to buy
No,
some things in life.
no, you wouldn't. You'd do something. Kind of. I'm here 6 years trying to do something. I might never do it. Might never get nowhere near it. Well, I think the objective I'm trying to achieve is positive and good for everybody. That it's worth trying, no matter how far I get. And if other people get aboard with the same type of thing, well, then what? The possibilities are much easier to see.
Nice philosophy, Mahai. Nice philosophy. JZ, you trying to come in?
Yes, I just want to say that I agree with what the first guy. Sorry, forgot your name and I lost it. But yeah, I agree that right now the crypto market is very involved with the stock market, and that's not new. That's pretty much the way it's been ever since most of the mining went from China to the U.S. and it just become more centralized in the U.S. economy more than the global economy. And you can see that because China has been printing a lot of money, has been doing a whole lot of things in their economy, and no longer has any major impact on Bitcoin price movement. So that should tell you that it used to be very relevant. Now it's not so, at least for the price action. And I also will tell you that usually in the bull market, we do have fluctuations of 20%, 30% down every other day. So expect more fluctuations and more volatility as we go along. So this is not new. This is actually a signal that we're starting to go up because uh, like I said, it's a lot of peak and valleys, and when you start seeing the valleys, you will definitely eventually see peaks, and that's the way it's going to be all the way until the apex. So this is not new, and like I said, this is actually a good thing because this was getting boring. We had like almost 2 or 3 months of side market between 105 and 191 or 90, and we really needed some kind of like shake so we can like wake up and or the Bitcoin price will wake up because we're also on the rainbow chart. We're right now in yellow. We still like 2 or 3 colors from the apex that usually happens. So we really need some movement. Anywhere the price moves is a good move because it means it wakes up.
Oh, okay, fine. All right. So you, even though we're in a downtrend at the moment, you still see that as something positive because something needed to happen in either direction. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, like I said, it dropped to 86, and in half a day we were back to 88. Now it's going again down. So I mean, it's moving more than before. Hopefully, we will start seeing, like I said, some peaks. But a side market really benefits nobody in the long run. I mean, we stay in a side market last year for the longest in '60s, on the '60s, and it wasn't until we jumped to 100K that people woke up to Bitcoin. But the market last year was pretty stall.
It was. Yes, you're right. It was pretty stagnant. There wasn't too much going on. All right. Interesting stuff. I'm gonna take a look at Bitcoin ownership in a moment. But before I do move on to that, anybody else want to jump in with anything at all before I move on? In that case, I am just gonna put another chart into the chat. This is a really interesting one actually, because it gave me a bit of encouragement when it comes to who is owning the current Bitcoin in circulation. Just take a look at this a moment. I did a post on it last week. I was doing some research. I don't know if anybody follows Bitcoin asset management at all. I don't know how reliable they are. They seem to have built up a good reputation for data, but I can't verify it. But just take a look at that for a moment. It's basically a chart which is supposed to give us at least a rough idea of who's got the Bitcoin. And I was quite pleased, delighted to an extent, to see that individuals, just take a look at that figure, own almost 70% of all Bitcoin in supply, which is good to see. Now, I appreciate that when we talk about individuals, it might not just be your average, you and I and ordinary people. You've obviously got multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires in there. Of course you have, but you've also got a lot of ordinary people like us here trying to make a living or trying to add to our way of life and to make it, to enrich it a little bit with some crypto to make life easier. You've got a lot of individuals in that 70% figure who are just like you and me. We just want a good standard of living, and we own a lot of that Bitcoin, which is great. I mean, it'd be great to break down that 70% figure. I mean, I know I can do that, but it would be fantastic to break that down to see where it is. But the point is, it's good to see that businesses and companies and corporates and governments only own, well, I think it's about less from that chart, about less than 8% of all Bitcoin circulation in supply. So for me, that's encouraging. That means it's still in the hands and it could still be in the hands of us ordinary folk. So that gives me hope, that chart. The problem I have, or the worry I have, is that I guess as the years go by and as corporates and banks and governments continue to move into the space, infiltrate the space, if you like, that figure, the individual's figure, will go down and down and down. And I've spoken to the Hive about this many times. This is where you start to see Bitcoin not becoming Bitcoin. It becomes the plaything of the banks and the corporates and the governments, and it's kind of moves into that system which the traditional financial system controls anyway. And this is my worry. So it's I don't know, there's two sides to this. You can see some negatives for sure, but there are also some positives. But Solo, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the chart is really interesting. Seeing how many individuals holding coins is definitely what Bitcoin is known for. It's known to be decentralized. Even if those individuals might be considered businesses, I think it's really good to see the funds compared to what all the BlackRock is holding for all the large Bitcoin funds, and compared to what Satoshi has in his wallet, and then also compared to how many Bitcoins are left to be mined. It's really amazing to see it go all the way down only 5.7%. Back in 2014, there were so many coins left to be mined. They were raining out of faucets, so to say. And nowadays, man, we're running out of Bitcoin to mine. That's what I see in that chart.
Do you know what, that is crazy, because you're absolutely right. Do you remember those faucet days? Gosh, they're long gone. I mean, where the people are scrambling to soak up that last bit of Bitcoin, although it will take many years to mine. I know it'll take a long time still. It is mad to see that figure at 5.7%. That is crazy, especially when there was so much at one point. But what's really sad, I have to say, from that chart, is the estimated loss. I assume that's locked up in wallets that can't be accessed. 7.5%. That's a lot of wealth there. That's waiting to be unlocked.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That 7.4% is mine, by the way. I'm just kidding.
I thought you said it's mine. Oh, you mean it's yours? Well, can you just share it around a bit?
No, I meant the lost part. I was joking. I was saying I lost 7.4% of all that in a boat accident. I lost all my Bitcoin that way. So I'm mostly that.
Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. These boating accidents.
No, it sucks to lose coins though. I definitely the 7.5%. I feel their pain. I've heard some awful stories from people that mined early and they threw out their computer and there was probably like 100 Bitcoins on their computer. And some of them say they go to like the actual scrapyard and try to find their computer again. I can't imagine.
Oh, that's oh gosh, you'd be kicking yourself. In fact, you'd be doing more to yourself than that now, wouldn't you? If you just dumped a hard drive that had 100 Bitcoin and you thought it was never going to be worth anything, yeah, I can see why you'd want to scramble back to it and try finding it. Wow. But for some people, that's going to be a real reality. That's difficult to accept. Let's be honest. Have you ever lost any Bitcoin?
Yeah, I've lost some Bitcoin to I had an encrypted container that I just could not remember the password honestly. So I lost some coins and luckily I was able to record it as a loss, so it helped me in my taxes at the end.
Okay. Silver lining and all.
Yeah, so don't forget your passwords when you lock up things in encrypted containers. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I mean that's 7.5%. That is well, that's a few million, isn't it? Blimey. In fact, is that into the billions figure? I'm not sure. It might even be that high. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Awesome stuff. All right. Anybody else want to jump in at this stage with anything at all before I move on to the next segment? What are we doing for time? Another 20 minutes or so. That's fine. Good, good, good. I think the hive's out at the moment. He's away for now. Anybody else want to jump in at all? Do you know the opinion I would like to get? Oh, it's Bookerman trying to get through. Bookerman, go for it.
Hey, how you guys doing? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. This is Bookerman speaking. I'm sorry I am late, but I am here now. I am here to tell you some cool stuff. So I just wanted to, I kind of missed most of what was going on. I just wanted to say really quickly, we have been adding videos to our YouTube channel with our wrestling partners. These include interviews, both long form and shorts, and we have added Hive branding at the end of all of our videos. And I'll be adding in the descriptions of the videos call to action to join our Hive community, talk about wrestling and stuff like that. I just wanted to ask if anyone had any suggestions or other things that we should maybe try to implement using our niche of wrestling to try to talk about Hive a little bit more. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to give that quick update and then see if I could get any suggestions from anyone.
Okay. Anybody got any suggestions?
Well, I'd say all the NFT markets, including Splinterlands, which would probably be the metric I'd look at. It's pretty quiet right now. So let's just hope Bitcoin gets really big, and so does Hive, and then chances are the NFTs and tokens and all the DApps on Hive will also do well.
Yeah, here in April, I'll also be going to WrestleCon again this year in Vegas, which is held alongside WrestleMania, and it's the biggest wrestling convention in the world. And we're going to be there talking about Hive, talking about our wrestlers, but also we're releasing a physical card game. And my idea is it plays a lot like Pokemon. It's actually a ton of fun. And my idea is I want to get those in the hands of wrestling fans at that event so they can go back to the hotel rooms and actually play some matches with their friends. And we have little advertisement cards with QR codes in there. And we have one for Hive, for example, one for Splinterlands in Leo, D-Crops. I'm willing to add some more in. And then Perry Saturn and I have been talking about doing an actual podcast related to wrestling, and I know we could use that as a platform to also do a commercial for the Project Wrestling organization online. But I'd also love to use that as a commercial for Hive, just in general. And I've been going back and forth debating if this would be something that I would even maybe want to bring up in a DHF proposal, just a very small proposal to basically say like, hey, we could make this a constant commercial essentially for Hive for a very, very small, reasonable amount of money.
Bookerman, this is fascinating. I know I've spoken to you before, not for a while, but this is great stuff. Can you link your? I assume you've got a Hive account, right? Can you link that into the chat as well, so we can look into this a bit more?
Yeah, I will. I'll do. I'm on my phone right now, and I'm about to head out to go pick up my nephew. So I'll just put the Eco. If you actually could, if you could grab a link to the Peak D or whatever, but I'll put the uh, the @ so that's the @ that we use. We also use Woo Marketing as another one, but the main one is @RestOrg Online. And so yeah, that's our actual Hive account. And yeah, if anyone's also willing to delegate HP, it helps out a ton. And we also have a witness. So if anyone has any extra votes for a witness, that would be greatly appreciated.
Awesome stuff. Okay, Bookerman. Well, there you go. Fascinating project there. Give us the link to the account as well. Oh, there it is up there. Thank you, Eco. I think that's it. We'll have to look more into this one. But are things, since we last spoken, are they moving in the right direction, would you say?
Are you asking specifically about the Woo project? Are they moving in the right direction, or are you talking more broader sense in the crypto markets?
No, your project.
Oh yeah. So everything's still moving in a great direction. We got a working game that is actually out on chain. Plays a lot like Splinterlands. You could actually log in and play matches. We have an active NFT marketplace. A percentage of our profits are shared with our wrestling partners. Because in America and really around the world, wrestlers are independent contractors. They don't have health insurance, life insurance. They don't have any of the benefits or securities that an employee would get. And they've been historically a whole class of worker that's been used and abused. And I believe it's a workers' rights issue. And so Wrestling Organization Online came about to bring awareness to those specific issues for that class of worker, and also show that there's a good way for them to continue to earn off of their likeness, earn in a non-abusive, exploitive way. We've been able to help our partner wrestlers with actually quite a bit. I'm very proud of the work we've done there. And then also just building out a community on Hive. That's something that we've been working on. And I see Wrestling Organization Online as more. It's more than just a crypto project. It's the brand is bigger than that. We're moving into live event spaces. We're moving into physical merchandise, for example, with the trading card game. Because I feel like with the trading card game, the physical card game specifically, that's such an easier way to get people involved in the community than
Sure. So
trying to tell them like get an NFT or a crypto.
Awesome stuff. So can I ask, in terms of how Hive chimes into this, how has it helped you?
Oh, it's helped. It's helped us greatly. For example, like we've had some of our wrestlers that have written posts on Hive, blogs on Hive, detailing their wrestling journey and history. It's fast and feeless. So, for example, for the actual like game itself, we're able to run the game and not have to, because like, for example, with Ethereum and a lot of the other NFT games and crypto games and stuff like that, you had to, pay money every time you make a transaction. Every time you submit a match or whatever, you have to pay a gas fee. So it's a very easy way. Also, it allowed us to start earning and building a community and earning from building a community to start off. And it was also very cheap for us to start up with our Hive Engine token, our NFTs and stuff like that. We were able to get our business up and running for relatively cheap and build from there. Hive has been gracious enough with the value plan to help us with the broader marketing for events. Like, for example, I was at Rare Evo with Crimson Clad, many different people from the blockchain to help, including Gabe from Crypto Shots and others, to help promote Hive in a broader sense at a convention in Denver. I was also there for their Breathe convention in Las Vegas, and then also WrestleCon last year. So I've been able to go to some crypto specific conventions, help talk about Hive, help talk about wrestling organization online, and without Hive, I'm really ride or die with Hive. A lot of people have said, like, oh, you got to go cross chain, and which I'm not against. I'm definitely not against like bridging to other chains. I think there is great value in that.
Absolutely, there is. Bookerman, I'm going to have to just sort of jump in a moment because we're running out of time. But do you know what? You're absolutely right to mention all of that. The cross chain approach, I think, is absolutely vital for project, and it's fantastic to see your real world project that is now taking off. That Hive has helped you directly with that. So that's all great. Just if you want to wrap up, please do.
Yeah, no, basically, thanks for giving me a second to speak. Breathe was a lot of fun, Cal. It was a great time there. Like I said, if anyone has any extra witness votes, we would greatly appreciate your witness vote. Just bringing awareness to the project, and we're here for Hive. I love it.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That's what we like to hear, Booker Man. Thank you for that, dude. Great to see those real life, sort of real world examples coming into fruition, those projects coming to life. Don't you think so, mate?
Absolutely. The dApps is the beating heart of Hive. Without the dApps, there is no Hive, and without Hive, there is no dApps.
Exactly. Absolutely. And this is the whole versatility of Hive. It can be so much. There's so much potential and opportunity here. Awesome. Right. Okay, we are slowly running out of time. Solo, I don't know if you've noticed, but the winner, who we're just about to announce, the winner of the 10,000 HP delegation, is not here. He usually is, but he's not this time.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've pinged him. I have DM'd him, but he's not responding. So I'm going to give him a few more minutes, and then we'll announce the winner. But for those of you that don't know, each month we give out 10,000 HP delegation to one lucky Hivian, and they get that for the full month, and they can, it's a nice little boost to their upvotes. And we've been doing that since January now. So we do it at the start of each month. So the guy, though, and it is a guy, I can reveal that much, who has won it this month, or for next month, it's not here at the moment, but hopefully he'll turn up, although given the time, I'm not too hopeful, but we'll give him a little bit more time. But anyway, I want to move on. I want to fit in just one more topic before we close the show, because we've discussed already some of the fiscal policies from the US government, at least, that is impacting the crypto sphere nowadays. And I think that, and it seems to be doing it also. Oh, Cal, are you trying to come in? Cal, you got a hot mic there, dude. Are you trying to come in? Thank you. No, he's sorted that out now. Okay, fine. I think that was just an accident. But as we've been seeing earlier in the show, that the fiscal policies, the government, and the relationship with government and crypto, it's going to continue. It's going to gain pace, I'm afraid, whether we like it or not. And I was talking with the Hive last night, and as far as I'm concerned, given the fact that politics and crypto are in itself becoming more aligned, they're getting more closer to each other. There's scope for an entirely separate show, a voice show. I mean, you could easily get an hour out of a crypto and politics show. There's no doubt about that. I'm not just talking a politics show per se, just a crypto and politics show. There is no doubt about that. And do you know what? The guy who has won the delegation would be ideal for that, because he has just recently reinvigorated or even created, I don't know which it is. I was going to ask him, but he's either reinvigorated or he has established a new Hive political community. That's the wider politics. I'm just honing in on the crypto and politics. So I was going to ask him about it, but he's not here at the moment. But nonetheless, the reason why I'm saying all of this, yes, reinvigorated, Eco, damn right. You put that in capitals next time. Anyway, but the reason why I'm saying all of this is to introduce my next segment, if you like, if you can call it that, because I've been looking at what the SEC's been up to. And if you want some evidence that we do indeed have a more crypto-friendly US government at the moment, I think we've got it, given what the SEC has been up to in the past week or so. So about 7 days ago, it paused its investigation, this long-term investigation that the Biden administration set up, I think. It paused its investigation into Binance. It then dropped its investigation altogether into Coinbase. And then a couple of days after that, dropped its investigation into Robinhood Crypto. And this, for me, is real evidence that we are seeing a more crypto-friendly US administration. And I hope this continues. In one of the press releases I saw, it went even further when it came to Coinbase. The SEC said that the investigation into Coinbase should never have started. And at the end of all that long investigation that the Biden administration set up, they didn't owe any penalties whatsoever. There was no money owing whatsoever. So that was fantastic. That was real evidence, in my opinion, that we are starting to see the current administration, anyway, in America, moving in the right direction. So, what are your thoughts? Tell us about what you've just put up there.
Well, for a long time, U.S. residents have not been able to deposit or trade any kind of crypto on Binance. If you had coins on there previously to whenever they stopped serving U.S. customers, you could pull funds off, but you could not move any money on. And this has caused a lot of trouble for people like me that want to buy Hive. I found I have to use swap services and use like the Bitcoin Lightning Network to actually achieve the liquidity I need to buy the amount of Hive I want. But with Binance coming back, if I can buy directly from there, man, I'll be so happy and sell that way too.
You see, that's another major development, isn't it? Because I'd forgotten that you Yanks couldn't access Binance. I'd forgotten about that, actually, because we can still use it in Britain. But that's again, you see, another key development. Would you say that is a result then of this new US administration directly getting involved in this, or not?
It sure feels like it. I mean, if the SEC paused their investigation and then Binance started opening up to U.S. customers again, it feels like a direct action.
Okay, that's awesome. Another positive development. And that was updated in the last hour, was it? Or is that an old graphic?
That's an old graphic, so I don't remember exactly when, but within a week, this is something that I found and I just saved.
Fantastic. No, that's great. That is all awesome stuff indeed. Rightio. Anybody else got anything they want to say at all about anything crypto or Hive related? Because I'm going to just quickly look at the Hive price before I move on to the winner of the 10K HP. Anybody else want to come in at this stage? In that case, I am just going to move on the little bit about Hive, and I'm going to bring up. Let's just see what Hive's been up to. Bear with me. Let me get the graphic in a minute, and we shall see what Hive has been.
Looks like it's at 28 cents right now.
Yeah, so there we go. Exactly. It's just fractionally under 28 cents at the moment. That's the weekly trading chart you're looking at there in the chat there. For the most part, it was really, arguably, I suppose, with the occasional dip, trading sideways for most of the week. But it's given what Bitcoin has been up to. Clearly, there's been a reaction there, and it's gone down to around 27, 28 cents. But as I was saying to Solo before, do you know what? That isn't. Oh my Lord, he has graced us with his presence just in the nick of time. My word, AlohaEd is in the house. Now that probably tells you who's won the 10K delegation. But anyway, Aloha, just pause for a moment if you can hear me. I don't know if you can, but I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Anyway, I'm just going to wrap up with the Hive, with Hive. So as you can see, what it's doing there, I was speaking to Solo just before, and I was saying, do you know what? Given the serious drop in Bitcoin, that's not a bad little performance from Hive, I would say. That's a pretty robust performance. Yeah, it's dropped a few cents, but do you know what? Hanging around 28, 29 cents, that's not bad at all, is it, Solo?
No, I mean, we were just at like 16 to 20 cents. It felt like we were in altcoin hell just like 6 months or 8 months ago. So I don't mind being at 30, almost 30 cents. We were nearly at half of that not too long ago.
Exactly. So, I mean, let's be honest, given what, as I say, what Bitcoin has done, and given the way other alts have reacted, no, I think that's a pretty solid performance as far as I'm concerned. So there we have it. Nothing much more to say about that, really. I think Hive is doing all right overall. I think you're right, Cal. Actually, yes, a lot of the alts, generally against this current downtrend that we're seeing from Bitcoin, are performing solidly. So go on then. I'm going to put it out to people. Given what we're seeing now, I've got to ask this almost every show: who's prepared to be bold enough? When are we going to see alt season? When are we going to get it? Come on, be brave, someone. When are we going to get it?
When we probably get at least somewhere in the mid 100,000 of Bitcoin, I think.
Mid 100,000, really? Blimey, that's a bit of a tall order, though, no?
Yeah, I mean, you probably see a big run up in Bitcoin and then alts follow. That's how it's gone for the last 10 years or so.
Fair enough. Oh, he doesn't think. Oh, that's interesting. Hello, I want. So, can you get on mic a minute for a moment, or are you still cooking your lamb, whatever it is you're up to? I know you seem a bit busy at the moment, but are you able to get on voice at the moment, Edwin? Don't know whether that's a no or whether he wants more encouragement. I don't know. No, he may have gone back to tend to his lamb again. I'm not sure. I can imagine him frantically dealing with something in the kitchen, trying to deal with this show, and then go back to his lamb. I don't know. He's typing something. Maybe he can't get on voice. That's a pity. I wanted him to expand on what he was saying there. Oh, he's getting rid of some background noise. Oh dear. Has he been watching certain videos? Yeah, you better switch them off, Edwin. You don't want to hear that. I'm quite sure the background noise he's talking about. But anyway, sizzling lamb. There you go. That's probably what it is. Yeah. So let him sort out that background noise. So I'd like him to just expand on what he said there about. He's the contrarian. He thinks that alt season isn't going to be broad spectrum. I'd like him to just tell us more about that, if he can.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, perhaps, if you're on the other side of the pond.
Good evening, Edwin. It is lovely that you've managed to join us. Thank you for that.
All right, so here's my thesis, and I'm sure someone like Addicted or maybe Cal probably has the technical chops maybe to dispute it. But I'm thinking about, do you remember the huge DeFi boom we had back in 2021?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
So there was this massive kind of coming together of GameFi was relatively new to people. So GameFi was huge. DeFi was huge. I mean, you had stuff like Trader Joe's DEX, Pancake Swap was still kind of new. There were all these crazy protocols. Everybody was jumping on all these different tokens. I remember though, at right before it crashed, AVAX was going, or Avalanche. Some people may call it AVAX. I call it AVAX. But I think it was going for over $125 a token. And I do a trade on AVAX, and with the congestion and everything at the height, I mean, it would cost me a couple of dollars just to do a simple transaction, right? It would cost me $3 or $4 just to go buy some other crappy tokens with my AVAX. And Bitcoin was below what it is now. Well, today I think, let me check CoinGecko real quick. I think I can talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. All right. So today Bitcoin is higher than it was at the height of the DeFi boom in 2021. AVAX was $125 thereabouts at the height. Today, with Bitcoin even higher, Avalanche looks like right now it's $21.64 a token. Well, since the DeFi boom, I feel like the number of chains, I mean, I think about this, I'm not just talking about tokens, but even the number of chains that exist have just exploded. And the market cap has gone up some, but a lot of that, I'm talking about the total crypto market cap, has gone up some, but a lot of that is institutional money now.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure that I feel like the attention has been diluted, and that the kind of attention that pushes a lot of the altcoins is caught up in Solana. With the pump fund, the meme coins, it's caught up in some of those markets. But I mean, think about in the last 2 years, the profusion of L2s, of AI, so-called AI chains, and all these different alternatives. I feel like attention is so diluted now that there's just not enough spare eyeballs that to go around with all the different options to create the same thing. Now, I do think we will have an altcoin season again, but I think it'll be selective. I think it'll be very selective. So the rising tide will not lift all boats. Some of the boats, it's just going to roll over. It will, but I think it'll perhaps be more like 10 or 20% of some basket of altcoins, and not like a broad spectrum where everybody's going to see infinite green candles. I don't think that's going to happen again.
Okay, so that's fascinating. That really is perhaps putting your colours to the mast there, putting your colours to the mast with that statement, with that kind of statement. But can I ask you, very importantly, what about Hive? Do you include Hive in that assessment? Just as I've literally asked Cal, do you include Hive in that or not?
I think Hive has got a lot of room to grow, but I think a lot of that growth, I think some of that growth is in our hands, and some of it is out of our hands. The spike that we saw within the last couple of months was largely driven by the novelty of Hive in the perpetuals and derivatives markets. And that's such the weirdest thing, because those perpetual markets, most of the Hive that gets traded around doesn't even exist, and even when those trades are closed, doesn't even resolve back to Hive, meaning it's not settled in Hive. And a lot of our price was being driven by that. One thing you've got to look at is Hive has kept doing its thing. when was the hard fork? Hive historians, what year was the hard fork?
2020 or 2021?
Right. Okay. So we're coming up. It will not be long before we hit our 6th year. Okay. Well, we'll have to hit our 5th year here next month. So we'll have a Hive anniversary, I suppose. Thank you, Hive Trinity. And there's solid utility here, and it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat feeless transactions. It's hard to beat a genuine decentralized network that has proved itself to be pretty robust. And then if you think that we were born out of the Steam fork, you've got a community in some cases that is going back more than 8 years. So you've got this line of continuity. You've got proof of concept. And there are things on the horizon like VSC, maybe some of the things that Cal and Leo are trying to do with cross chain. I think that can channel more value here, and then the rest of us can generate value too. Like when I write now on Hive, I'm trying to reduce, and it kills me a little bit, but I'm trying to reduce the number of posts that I make that are just for Hive people to read. What I'm trying to do, like I did a video today on Twitter, and right on the front of the video, I put Hive and I put 3Speak, and then at the back of the video, I made a title sheet. Like I like to use decentralized social media on Hive. Here's why. And so I'm trying to do these discovery things, and because I want to drive Hive, well, what can I do? I can help people discover it, whether that's as a user or maybe someone who, just for the public to see it, right? Because a lot of it resolves down, and I feel like I'm rambling here, or at least monologuing, but I think a lot of it resolves down to attention, right? You've got to get attention for your thing.
Absolutely. And you've certainly got a lot of attention on you at the moment, Edwin. And I want to thank you for that insight, because you bring a lot to the table with these discussions. So thank you for that. Fascinating to get that insight. Appreciate the knowledge and the wisdom there. And just, I mean, it's ideal to just roll straight into the winner of the 10,000 HP delegation, because it is, as you will know by now yourself, you have won 10,000 HP delegation for the month of March. So you have won a 10,000 HP delegation. It's only temporary, I'm afraid. It's not permanent. Sorry about that, but you've got it for a month. So you've got that for March. And the reason you've got that is that we give this out each month. It's merit-based. Predominantly, we also want to know who you are. Of course we do. So we like to see what the show, but it is merit-based. You've been doing some amazing things around the community. You're clearly a clued up guy. You've been coming to a lot of shows, this one and other ones. You make a real contribution to the shows on chain as well. And so you have won that, and I hope you enjoy that. So if you could just confirm that you've listened to everything I've said, and then I can get that ball rolling for you.
Well, I'm going to take that delegation and go vote on some of the absolute worst posts. I'm probably going to go over to Solominers and start voting on Tomato Post. Thank you very much. I will try to use this delegation wisely.
Well, yeah, do you know what? If you could use it wisely, that would be a bonus. You do seem like a wise person. And do you know what? While you were here, because we spoke about you in the middle of the show, I must ask you now, because I meant to come back to this, but I've been busy with one thing and another. Is it right that you've either reinvigorated or started the political Hive community, the Hive political community?
I did not start it, but I've been trying to drive it, and then I try and interact with people there, and it doesn't matter whether or not I agree with their politics. I'm just trying to. I like the idea of a forum like that, where people can express thoughtful post and be rewarded for it. So every day I try and buy some of their native tokens and just perma-stake it and then try and go over there every day if I can and interact with the post there with a thoughtful comment of my own. Generally, generally positive. It doesn't matter if I agree with their analysis or their politics. The main thing I'm looking for is just fostering the idea of a community where thoughtful discussion can occur. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it makes sense. Yeah, bye, Paloma. Thank you very much for coming. Good to have your company again. Thank you, Paloma. No, Edward, that is absolutely ideal because we do need some kind of forum where politics can be discussed, and I think you are best placed to kind of manage that in a way. I wish you had a more senior role in it, because we do need to kind of, politics can be very divisive, as you know, but if you can manage that in a more sort of harmonious way where expression can surface without the hatred and all the rest of it and the anger, I think you're best placed to manage that. I was talking earlier to the Hive, and I said you could get actually an entire show dedicated to crypto and politics. You could obviously get a show dedicated to politics, of course you could, but given the scale of the discussion and how US fiscal policy now impacts the crypto sphere, we're talking more about politics. And do you know what? A crypto and politics show, I'm sure there's a gap in the market for that, and you would be best placed to deal to run that one. Just a suggestion, just putting it out there.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Eco is giving you the yellow warning sign.
Oh yes, sorry, Eco. We have to close. Why do we have to close? I'm having fun. We've got to go now because Eco's telling us to go. We can after show. Yes, I know we can after show. Oh, it's to do with your recording, isn't it? Okay, fair enough. And Solo's got to go as well. Yeah, fair enough. That's all good. We better wrap up then. Fortunately, I managed to fit everything in, but that's awesome. All good. Glad you made it, Edwin. Thank you for coming. Thank you to everybody for coming. It's been another interesting show. We've covered a lot of ground again. I must thank my co-host who stepped in, who I've inadvertently kept over time. Apologies about that, Solo. It's been great to see you, and thank you again for coming to the show. Do you want to say anything, Solo, before you go?
No, I just wanted to say thanks for having me on Peace and Money. Let me have a few hours, or maybe I'll sleep on it tonight. I'm going to think about if I want to start doing this regularly with you. But this was a really good experience, and I'm so happy to see everyone here in chat. Many of them I know very closely, so thank you very much for joining us. And yeah, thanks for making this possible, Peace and Money.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And again, thank you to everybody who came. It's been a bit of a bumpy few weeks, as I say, with all that's going on. Don't forget that Buckcoins and Shadows Pub are not coming back to the show, hence the reason why I'm looking for a new co-host. But fortunately, we had the awesome Solo stepping in today, so thank you for that. I hope he will be back at some stage. Eco, and we'll start the after show straight away. That's the bit that's not recorded, though. That's the compromise I've made with all this recording stuff. Some people don't want the show recorded. They feel it inhibits their ability to talk freely, etc., etc. So whilst I respect that, I think the show should be recorded, and you're recording it, so that's great. But the after show bit, that's the bit we don't need to record. So you're free to do whatever you want. I don't know if you've got to move on or you've got to do whatever you want, but